Hello, what's going on, everyone? And it's Friday morning, and I wanted to build a very simple project. We don't want to stress ourselves today. We are just diving into the weekend, so we're going to build just this particular very simple animated button, and we're going to use HTML and CSS to do that. Really very simple. These colors that you are seeing right here, they slide through to infinity. So let's see how that is actually going to be. So to build this animated submit button, it's really very simple. So if you take a look at that, what we're going to just basically do is, let me just first of all create a folder or a file for this. So once I get into this, I want to create the one that I just kind of displayed is actually found right here. So I want to create a new folder for this, and I'm going to just basically call that, let's call that animate, and I want to open that up with my Visual Studio Code. So let's do that right away. And it's going to get opened in our Visual Studio Code. Then let's create a new file here. I'm going to just basically call this index.html. Open that up. And I want to throw in my HTML boilerplate. So if I do exclamation and I hit tab, it's going to generate this boilerplate for me. And that's because I have Emit enabled in that system. So let's create our first div right here. So it's going to be class. I set that to be equal to, and I'm going to just basically call this, let's call that center. And let's close out this down here. So if we do that, the next thing I want to basically do is to create this particular button that we have in here. This button, I want to create that right now. And to do that, what I want to do is I'm going to just make use of button right here. So this is going to be btn that way, and I can generate the second closing tag in here, and we can just go ahead and just say something like click me. You can say something like maybe submit, whatever you want to say in there. All right, so let's give this a class, and I'm going to just basically call this, I'm going to just think I call that glow btn. So let's call that glow dash btn, and that's just the name I call that. So what I want to do next is I want to add my CSS right here, which I'm going to just, and you can just create an external file for this if that's what you want to do. All right, but what I want to do is just go ahead and then put that right here. So at first I want to start my body. So if I do body right here, and I'm going to just first of all set a background for this. So this is going to be background. I'm going to just basically set that to this, we'll just do hash and then set that to 111, this degree of a black color. And then the next one I want to do, I will just do display, and I want to basically set that flex. And then after that, I want to set the, I'm going to just say justify content, and I want to center that. And then after that, we're going to just say align items. So it's going to be align items, and it's going to just also be sent to the center. And then after that, I'm going to just have to create a height right here. So this is going to be height. I'm going to just basically set that to 100 VH. That's the viewport height. And after that, let's set the margin. So this is going to be margin. And I'm going to just basically set that to 0 pixels. So that's what we've got so far. Down here, the next thing I want to do is to work on this particular button right here. I mean, this particular class. So if I do dots and then do center, now, what I want to do with the center is just, first of all, let's position that to relative. So this is going to be relative. And if we do that in there, the next thing I want to work on is going to be the button itself. So we did have a class that we call glow-btn. So I'm going to just do .glow-btn, and we can spell out a couple of style for this in here. All right, so first I'm going to just set the padding. I'm going to set that to, it's going to be 15 pixels by 40 pixels. So going to be 40 pixels right here. And then the next one is actually going to be to send the font size. I'm going to just set font size right here, and I'll set that to be equal to, this is going to just basically be 16 pixels right here. And after that, we'll go ahead and set the background. So this is going to be background. And I want to set the background to the same color we got above. So this is going to be, and after that, let's set the color of the text to white. So this is going to be white right here. And after that, we set the border, set that to none. This is going to be none. And we're going to just set the border radius. So this is going to be border, radius. And I want to set that to be equal to, this is going to be 8 pixels. So let's do 8 pixels right there. And that is it. So right here, we're going to set position for this. Set that to, this is going to still be relative. And then after that, we're going to set the, we'll just set the tab to, this is going to be minus 2 pixels, and the left is actually going to be set to also minus 2 pixels right there. And I'm going to just set the right to the same minus 2 pixels right there. This is going to be 2 pixels, and the bottom is actually going to also be the same. So we're going to just do bottom, and I'm still going to set that to minus 2 pixels like that. All right. So after that, I want to set the background color right here. So this is going to be the background, and I'm going to go ahead and set that to the following. So I'm going to just do linear gradient, and then within this linear gradient, what I want to do, the first value is actually I'm going to set that to 45. It's going to be 45 degrees. So this is going to be DEG like that, and you can just set the color to something like red. So I'm going to just do, so if I do this, I'm going to just do FF0000 like right there, and I'm going to introduce a comma right here. And the next one I want to work on right here is to bring in a green color, so which is basically going to be this is going to be F, no, not F, but 00 FF00 like that, and that's just the value. And after that, we are going to bring in something like a green right there. So this, I'm going to just make use of this color, and after that I'm going to also bring something like I think I already got this right here, so I should be talking about bringing something like a navy blue right here. So this is going to be 000, and I'm going to just do FF right here. This should be a navy blue, and the last value right there is actually going to be this word right here. So if we do FF, and then we'll do 00 like that, so this particular value, so bringing that back within that particular place in there. So we can go ahead and then terminate this line. This color that you are seeing here, this gradient color, is just basically referring to these colors that are just going through this right here. So that's just basically what I'm doing right there. All right. So if we go back to our development environment, and we have that in there, the next thing I want to set in here is just basically going to be the border, the background size. All right, so I'm going to just do background, and this is going to be dash size, and we're going to just basically set this to something like 400% on that web page. And we can also do the z index. So if I do z index right here, and I'm going to just basically set that to -1. And the next thing is to just set the filter. So I'm going to set the filter for that. So this is going to be just set to blur. So we'll set that to blur, and within this, we're going to just pass in 8 pixels right here. Let's terminate that outside. And the next thing we want to do is to how often are we going to be changing the animation. All right, so to do that, we can do that with animation. So I'm going to do animation right here, and you can go ahead and just say glow. That will be the name of the animation, and you can just make that glow in 8 seconds. And after that, the type of animation is just basically going to be linear. And then we can make that to work to infinity. So if we put infinity right here, it should be able to like continue going through that. All right, if we take this away, this infinity away, it's going to just like a kind of animate just once, and then it's going to basically stop. All right, so first of all, let's take a look at that from our browser right here. So if I open this up, open this animate, open this up, and you see that we do have this at this particular point. If we refresh on that, you may not like notice everything yet, but when we use that keyframe, we're going to notice something as we move along. All right, so if we go back in here, what I want to do within the next line is to just say, I'm going to just first of all set a border. So this is going to be border radius, and I want to set that to 10 pixels. And the next thing I want to do is to just take a look at the keyframe. So I'm going to just use at keyframe, and I want to get down here to be able to do that. So if I do at keyframes, and within here, this is just basically where I should be able to like make that animation work just fine, right? So let's add some key values right here. So within this particular place where we are right now, first of all, we need to like reference to the name right here, the name of this particular animation, which is actually called a glow. So I'm going to copy that and then get it right here, and this is just basically going to say glow right there, and then we can throw in some stars in here. So I'm going to just do at 0%. What do I want to give to this right here? So we can just do this, and I'm going to just do the background. So this is going to be background, and we're going to just this is going to be background position, not just background, but background position. And I want to change the position to like move from 0% to like that kind of 50% right here, and that's just the first value in there. The next one I want to do is, let me just first of all copy this, and I want to paste that maybe 2 more times. So I want to, on the next one, I want to move from 50%. Since I stopped at 50% in here, we can now move from 50% on this. So this is going to be 50, and this is going to be at 75, I think. So let's change the second one. Not really at 50, but I'm gonna just do 100. I want it to get to 100. Then after that, I want it to like reduce back to something like 50%. And then the last one in here is going to move from 100%. And within this particular place, we're going to move from 0% to that of the 50%, which means that this line is basically correct the way that it is right now. All right. So that's just basically how that is actually looking so far. And we ought to like terminate these styles that we have in here. So I want to add all this within these places. So let's save the changes in here. And then if we take a look at our results so far on the screen, something is really happening. But I think that we blur the entire web page right here. So I want to look for a way to remove this blur. So if we go back to our code right here, so I think we need to, I'm going to just set, this is going to be before right here instead of what we had earlier. So this style is actually going to apply to this. But then before we get into this place, I need to set a couple of styles for basically this glue button first of all. So to do that, I'm going to just, let's tap this a little bit over. And what I want to do within here, let me cut or copy some styles from here. So I'm going to cut this. I don't think we need this within this particular place. So let's put that right here. And we also need a couple of styles to like be in this particular place first of all. So I think we also need to, I'm going to take this away, the border radius, and then even the border itself. Let's put it right here first of all. And then if we do that, I think what I'm going to just do right here is to just, I'm going to just say content, and I'm going to just basically set that to nothing right there. And we also need a z-index up here. So where's that, the z-index? I'm going to copy this z-index, and to make that appear at the top, we need to change this. Instead of calling this a -1, we're going to just basically say 1 right there. All right, and then we're going to just set the position for this one. This is going to be, so we'll do position right here, and this one is actually going to be relative, and but then we need to change this one down here to absolute. So this one is going to be absolute, and after that we need, I'm going to just say overflow right here and set that to hidden, and we also need to set the pointer. So I'm going to just do pointer right here. So it's going to be pointer, and let's set that to, is that actually called a pointer? That should be called a cursor. So I'm going to just say cursor right here, and I will set that to something like pointer. So this is going to be pointer, and that should just be that on that line. So I think this should be able to, so I think that this should be able to like do that. All right, so just take a look at the style. You started from here and to kind of stopped right here. So let's save the changes right here, and then if we go back and refresh our work in here, it should look a little bit better now. So it looks better now, and it looks just like the original. All right, really very simple, right? So that's just that. So if you take a look at the original right here, it also works the same way. See how that is actually working. So this one is also working the same way. So one thing we forgot is to add a title right here. So we do not actually have a title in here, so we need to like have that. And I think that's a kind of a stops after a while, guys. So if you watch that, it's going to stop after a while, and that's because I think I took away the infinite at that time. So after it goes through all the colors, it's going to stop, but it won't need to like continue displaying. So if we go back to what we worked on our animation, where is that? So right here, so you need to bring back infinite right here. So this is going to be infinite. Save the changes. And I also want to use this opportunity to bring in the title right here. So let's call this animated animated what, submit, or button. Let's just animated button right there. So go back in here, refresh the web page. It's going to keep on scrolling. It's going to go through all the colors, and then the style is actually gradient the way that you are actually seeing that, just slanting all through. All right, so I think this thread is the last color, and it's starting afresh. So it continues like that. It's not going to like pause anymore. All right, so that is that, guys, and I hope you like that, and hopefully I'm going to use it to build something interesting, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.